is Constance Guisset. I'm a designer. It means that I have to work on many objects, but at the same time I'm also a kind of scenographer, we would say. So I do stage design, for example, in museums or in spectacles. So I have the opportunity to work on many different fields and many different people. So being a designer allows us to have a quite large panel of actions. And that's so I design objects, but I also work for people for stage design. I think talking about my work and some objects would help me to, maybe I will introduce you to 3 types of actions. So the first action is design objects. And if I have to talk about one object, there is one, of course, that is quite well known, is vertigo light. So it's I'm talking about this object because maybe for people it's easier to see it at the same time. It's a very light object. It's quite wide, so it's 2 meters large. It's an object about intimacy. So you feel at home when you're under it. You just feel covered, whereas you have only something over you. You don't have walls, white walls. So it was really a reflection about intimacy, how to feel at home and isolated from other people just with something that is just suggested. So this is the main idea. And then after, in the shape itself, the round shape is very important for me because it's very soft. And I feel that most objects today are not soft enough. And so I try to bring this kind of poetry and softness in objects so that you don't feel oppressed by them. Because I feel that today, in our world, we are a little bit too materialistic. So having a light object would help us being less materialistic in a sense. Then second object I can talk about is the new lamp, Chantilly. It's the same kind of atmosphere, something that is moving. But there is one thing special in this one, is that it's very cheap for people. So it was very important for me to think of a new cheap lamp for people, so that design be affordable for everyone. So it's very simple assemblage with wooden legs and a top in polypropylene, sorry. And it's with many colors. And colors is something that is now becoming very important in my work because I feel that we are too much kind of, we're afraid about colors when you're a designer. But I think that we should dare colors and try them. And trying to find options to go from pink to yellow is very interesting. It's difficult, but when you work on it and you try a lot, then you can have some kind of effects. And I'm very much interested in, in animals like everyone, but I'm bringing my children to the zoo, and I'm very much interested in birds in general, and the way their feathers change colors is really interesting. And why shouldn't we be able to have this kind of color changes in life, in our objects? So I'm trying many things. Very often I kind of fail in doing things in color, but it's still, we're researching and we're trying to find solutions. So Chantilly is about this, is about having very simple objects, a very simple object with low price but with many colors, so we have many options. I structure my day like many people and maybe like many women in our life. So I'm trying to do everything. I'm trying to be a good mother and a good designer and a good manager. I don't know, but whatever. So of course I have a first day before the day, taking care of the children, taking to everything, and 2-3 hours that begin the day differently than from other people. I'm saying this because I'm very much feminist in a sense, and I think that we need to say that everything is possible, and many people think it's not, and many women think it's not possible to have both activities and to be independent. So I think it is, and I really want to show it is by having these two. So then after my day in the office, it's just like I would say I meet the editors in general. I have some meetings explaining the projects, receiving some new demands for projects. And also, for example, for the building in hotels, I have to be there and say, okay, yes, no, yes, no. So I have many choices to make in a day, which is something very surprising. Sometimes I go back home and I say, no, I don't want to choose anything. Just I've been making maybe 100 decisions today, which blue, which green, which yellow, and this is, I stop for today, it's finished. so many decisions. And then something that is important, you're here in my studio and you can see there are many people, and a designer is not someone that is alone when he has a kind of a big activity, and we're working on many different projects, so we can say it's maybe 10 projects at the same time, between 10 and 15. I try not to have more, but it's at different moments of the project, so sometimes it's the beginning, sometimes it's the end, and I work with everyone here, and I go on every desk all the day, and I say, okay, now it's your turn, and they say, Constance, can you come? Constance, can you come? And so I'm going there, and I'm not very often behind my own desk. I'm designing, you know, drawing all the time with them, and when I design myself, it's also at home or in the train or, you know, on the weekends, because it's very rare to have this kind of calm moment when inspiration comes and you can work. So I'm doing this all day, which is quite funny, but sometimes you need time to rest also. But it's very funny, and I really love the team I'm working with. So it's really a pleasure being there in the morning. But the day passes very, very fast, very fast in general. Of course, you have this idea of moments, because you know, it's kind of a good alchemy when you feel that something is coming. When, for example, when vacations come, I know I have 2 weeks. I don't want to hear about design at all. It's just like I'm making the emptiness in my head, and then after I know it's coming back. And I know there's a real desire, there's something that is necessary for me to design things and to think of objects. It's the same in a short term in everyday life. So I need some calm moments, and then it's coming. To be honest, I always think about my projects. So I have, you can ask people here they know when I'm in the metro, because I'm sending 10,000 of SMS saying, we should do that, we should test that, we should test that, making some drawings, snap, and then send all the time. So always in these moments, I solve a lot of problems, I think. But then talking about inspiration, I would say that movement is my main inspiration. I'm very much interested in movement and softness, and I'm also very much interested in grace in general. It sounds strange to talk about grace, but I think it's really something important. I'm not this kind of women completely graceful and you feel they are not touching the ground, but I'm really interested in that kind of ephemera and you know, kind of not materialistic objects. This is what I'm interested in. At the same time, doing this, you need to be very structured and very rigorous, and have also the functions that go with it. So we need to be at the same time on the earth and in the air, and try to have both at the same time, and trying to do the good alchemy. I don't know if we are managing to do so, but anyway, this is the idea. And then when I'm designing an object and talking, I say, okay, let's go for thinner, 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 and then when you are too thin, then you have no materiality anymore. So it's kind of try all the time to have it material but immaterial at the same time, with movement also. And the idea of movement makes it a bit immaterial. For example, Chantilly lamp, you have the idea it's dancing, there's something moving inside, which is just by folding the paper or the plastic. This is important. I don't think there is one future. I think there are many kind of evolutions possible. And one is, of course, further interest in nature, and to see how nature behaves and how we can, you know, stitch things together, glue them without putting some glue. And this goes also with the idea of an environment, of course. Environment is something that we have to take into account. I'm not sure that environment should be the only option in design, because when there is only environment telling what to do, then shape and imagination disappears sometimes. And we need to find a good alchemy between kind of imagination, because I think we are really, what makes the difference between us and animals is the way we think and the way we have the spirit, and how to put spirit in objects. And this is very important. It's not only tools. And I really think that it's not true that we are going to have only tools to live, because we need this moment where we escape ourselves. And so I think seeing to nature at the same time, see to the environment, also seeing to new, because I think this is going together. It's not only getting rid of industry, etc. It's taking the industry, go further there, make some mistakes, but at the same time trying to find some other solutions. We need all this at the same time.